So let's just take a couple minutes to talk about the day of the poster session itself. So be on time, set up your poster and stand next to it at the appointed time. When someone comes by and they pause, you can certainly ask them, would you like me to take you through my poster? Most people will say yes. I already mentioned this, but ask your audience what their background is and adjust appropriately. But regardless of their background, don't forget to start your presentation with why the work is important. Okay, one of the biggest mistakes is to just jump right in and forget to explain the big picture and why somebody should be interested in what you have to tell them. I also want you to encourage you to use I when you're talking about the work you did. Okay? You may often hear the principal investigator of your research group saying we when they give a presentation. Hopefully they are appropriately acknowledging the people who did the work, but for them it's a little bit more appropriate to use that, that plural pronoun because they are talking about work that was done by their research group. In this case, you are really being judged in many ways by what you have accomplished, and so it's okay to use the word I when you actually did the work. But then, of course, what comes with that is to appropriately acknowledge others when they did the work. So if you use the word we, just be really clear about what that means in your case. You should dress in a way that you're comfortable, but for a professional event. And really importantly, I would argue, wear shoes that won't distract you when you've been standing for a long time. It gets really exhausting to stand next to a poster and present your work over and over. And the last thing you need is to be worrying about how much your toes are hurting. And finally, show interest in other people's work. So if you and the person next to you don't have anyone at your poster, go over and ask them, what did you do? Tell me about your work. And when it's not your turn to present, take some time to stick around at the poster session and go see what the other amazing work that people have done. Finally, I just want to spend a moment talking about accepting feedback. So poster sessions are all about getting feedback. And so do welcome that feedback and be prepared to have a discussion with someone. This is actually one of the best things about presenting a poster rather than giving like a talk, because there is just a lot more opportunity for back and forth. You might want to consider bringing a small notepad to jot down good ideas, or of course you can do that on your phone if you want. And really avoid being defensive in the face of criticism. If someone asks you a question or they make a comment that you either don't think is relevant or perhaps you don't understand, ask them to explain again. So they might actually have thought of something that you haven't thought of, or maybe they just didn't quite understand and you can give it another try. And actually, if you commonly have something that people don't understand, then take that with you and use it to improve your poster and your presentation for the next time. It's also okay to say, I don't know. There are going to be times that people ask you a question that you just haven't considered. So write down the question so you can seek an answer later. That's how we learn from these kinds of events. And finally, at the end, remember to thank the audience for listening and for their feedback, and just assume, even if it seems like they're being somewhat critical of the work you've done, assume that they are trying to help you improve and to develop your abilities for the next time. So with that, obviously, since this is a recording, I can't take any questions, but please do reach out to me if you have any concerns, and thank you very much for listening to this presentation.